This is the morning of 28 September 2019 in the port of Ulsan, South Korea. This is the STOLT Groenland standing by, waiting to shift a berth and discharge cargo on board. The ship is carrying a hazardous material cargo of styrene monomer, and that is the cargo exploding on board the vessel. It'll take firefighters 6 hours to extinguish the blaze, involve over 700 personnel and over 117 fire units eventually involved. 15 responders were injured, and two of the crew were injured in it. Today, the British government released the report, and that's going to be the subject of today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping. Hi, I'm Sal Mercogliano, Associate Professor of History at Campbell University, a former merchant mariner and an instructor in maritime industry policy for the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. And today, the MAIB, which is again the ministry that oversees it, the Marine Accident Investigation Branch, released their report on this explosion. This is the image of the explosion taken from a ship, a massive fireball that took place in the harbor of Ulsan. Matter of fact, if you go on the Marine Tracker, they still have the STOLT Greenland at that anchorage right there. You can see the Ulsan Bridge right there that you saw in the explosion. And give you an idea where this is, let's zoom out a little bit here from Ulsan. Ulsan's on that southeast coast of the Republic of Korea, right across from Japan. This explosion was obviously catastrophic for a variety of reasons, but not the least of which that it was caught on multiple venues to be able to see. This is I believe it was a cab coming across, and you'll see the image right here. Let's go ahead and play this image for you. Obviously, that image was quite dramatic. There's other images here that I will show you that gives it. This is from the berth that you can see the image take place. Let's go ahead and pop this up for you, give you the image, and then we'll get into some detail here talking about this. You can see that massive explosion coming off the vessel right there. There's another view of the same thing here. You see that massive explosion take off right there. Everybody running. Quick move on the scooter right there. Able to get out. I think it's the fastest I ever seen a scooter move right there. What was this explosion? I don't blame them. I get out of there. You have no idea what this explosion entails. So what was the cause of this explosion? So a couple of things here, and this is the story from G Captain that talks about it here. So one of the things that they found out is the tanker was moored alongside a general cargo berth in Ulsan. Right alongside her was another vessel, the Bao Delan, which was a chemical tanker, Singapore flagged. And what happened here was a catastrophic rupture of the cargo tanks caused by a release of the vapor that happened. And that release of vapor is going to be the key thing that causes the explosion. This is security footage right here that was recorded. And one of the things you'll see here, here's the vessel, the STOLT Groenland. And one of the things you'll start noticing here is this vapor, this mist right here. This is coming from the cargo. The cargo has been heated up, and that's a big issue that they'll talk about here. This cargo, styrene monomer, when it gets heated up, will start to expand. And what happens here is the vapors are starting to leak from the hold. And the vapors are extremely explosive. All it needs is a very low flash point, just needs a little bit of heat to ignite it. And these vapors are coming off the vessel right here. Vapors coming off are always a bad thing. You don't want to see them, especially on board a tanker. And that's what you're seeing right there. And what we're going to eventually see here is an ignition that causes the explosion and the rupturing of the tank, the massive fireball that is the result here. And these vapors begin to build up. You'll stop seeing these vans, these not vans, but these tankers, small portable gas carriers right there. You'll see them shrouded in the mist. Not sure if some of them are running or not. That could be a cause for the spark here. But the pressure is enough to cause this catastrophic escape. And then all of a sudden you have the flames that basically engulf the entire ship right there. So a fairly significant blast there on board the vessel. Go into the report, and the report also links over to the actual report here from G Captain over to the government report here, where they give you the investigation report. You can read the whole thing in detail here. It's kind of summarized in the G Captain report. But basically, the big issues they had here that they identified is the styrene monomer was affected by other heated cargo tanks. So other cargo tanks had heat in them, and that heat transposed into the tank holding the styrene monomer. In other words, heat transferred through the metal hull. This transfer from other cargoes was not fully appreciated. I think there was a lot of things not fully appreciated there. And then the styrene monomer temperature was not monitored, which means that once it heated, it explode. If you pull up styrene monomer in the emergency response guide, this is what you get for it. Again, I'm a volunteer firefighter, so I know these things. Uh, right here, highly flammable, will be ignited by heat, sparks, or flames. Vapors may form explosive mixes with air. Vapors will travel to source of ignition and flash back. Most vapors are heavier than air, hence the reason it was laying low there. Vapor explosion hazard indoors, outdoors, or in sewers. It goes on here to talk about, and I'll bring it up here for you, how to fight this fire. In small doses, it says use dry chem, CO2, water spray. The majority of this product has a very low flash point. Use of water spray when fighting fire may be inefficient. You have no choice in a large fire like that. Use the water spray, foam, or fog, and kind of douse it. So one of the things that is coming out of this explosion is some recommendations. Recommendations made to STOLT tankers aimed at ensuring the wider marine chemical sector benefits from the lessons learned. There was actually a previous incident to this where the cargo in another STOLT tanker heated up, didn't explode, but it heated up and they had a vapor release. And so one of the things that they're talking about here is getting the International Chamber of Shippings and Intertanko with their recommendations to basically endorse this, to start mandating the requirement for temperature checks in cargo holds where you carry such a cargo as styrene monomer. And I think that's a fairly significant change that we see going on. The G Captain here lists all those. They talk about this in some detail. The investigation was carried out on behalf of the Cayman Islands, since the Cayman Islands is under the British uh, system. It was the British government that's released it. And it came out under this. They talked about they agree to carry out an investigation for very serious marine casualties involving ships in their register, and that's why the MAIB did this investigation. The explosion again was absolutely horrific to watch it happen here. Go ahead and scroll here a little bit on some of the explosion and the firefighting. Obviously, nearly encumbered the Ulsan bridge. This was not in a terminal where they offload this cargo. She was just at a berth standing by there. She had a tanker alongside of her that was damaged. And you can see the scope and scale of the fire right here that's being fought there, and attempts to extinguish it. You can see the monitors going in here, heavy tugs coming in, attempting to extinguish it. The crew attempting to exit the vessel, abandon the vessel as quick as they can. You can see foam on the water there that they've been using, trying to get the fire out. Again, huge explosion. Took place. This was again in 2019, so 2 years ago in Ulsan, Korea. But the report just coming out now. I've talked a lot about Evergiven, the fact that we haven't seen its report yet, even though that happened back in March. This is over nearly 2 years ago. And like I said, we're just seeing this report right now on the Stella Groenland and the fire that encumbered it. So anyway, I'll have the link to all these, the videos, the reports, and the story from G Captain. Again, things we tend to see going on in the maritime industry. We see these incidents happen a lot, and hopefully we see changes in regulations regarding the vessels so that when you carry a cargo like this stoner monomer, that you're able to monitor the temperature, so that should that temperature reach a certain point, you can take precautions to lower the temperature, cool it down, and prevent a similar catastrophic explosion. Fortunately, the ship was at the berth. They were able to extinguish it, even though there were some injuries in the crew and the firefighting teams. No one lost their lives. So if you enjoyed today's video, then please feel free, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead, hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Also, give it a thumbs up so it'll be shared across YouTube, and feel free to share it across social media. Until our next video, this is Sal signing off.